I once worked someplace that called itself a village, which should have really been the first clue that things were about to kind of go cult adjacent. I'm not going to name names about where this is, but if you want to figure it out, you probably really could. So for orientation, they brought in people from all over the United States for like this 3-day long event. It was called Academy, and hundreds of people were there. And it was kind of the corporate version of like a Coachella onboarding that happened like in a hotel ballroom. The whole thing was just this like relentless hype. That's all it was. It was doing skits. It was executives in a band. I shit you not. There was a band. Imagine looking up on the stage and like seeing your boss ripping through a cover of Don't Stop Believing wearing a name badge. And then it gets fun. The CEO actually rode in to the ballroom on a horse, okay, in full Three Musketeers uniform with his sword drawn. People freaking lost their minds, okay? I remember sitting there looking around, and I thought I was living in some kind of alternate reality. People were screaming like it was the Beatles in '64, right? They were crying, their hands up in the air like they wanted to touch him. It was so bizarre. And I was sitting there thinking, looking around going, oh my God, this is the biggest Kool-Aid kegger that I've ever seen. But I still had to clap because, you know, rent. He got up on stage and announced that we weren't employees. Oh no, we were citizens of his village. And we had to shout one for all and all for one while we pretended to have our swords drawn, right? One for all and all for one. The academy wasn't training, it was indoctrination. We spent all week doing trust falls, team building games, group chants and songs. We actually had to write our own chant and perform it at the end of Academy. So it was kind of like a corporate show choir, but really, really sad. Like I said, they called it a village. We weren't employees, we were teammates. And by Wednesday, I was genuinely wondering if I was gonna have to sacrifice a goat to get out of there. They gave us these little like Three Musketeers hat and said that they symbolized our lifelong commitment to, I guess, I don't know, quarterly goals. I don't know. And the worst part of it all is I can still see it. Everyone was like genuinely moved, like they had found their purpose, right? Meanwhile, I'm in the back wondering how long I could hide in the bathroom without someone noticing. It was 25 minutes. They came and found me after 25 minutes. That's the thing about survival. You know it can be insane while it's happening, but you gotta smile through it because rent doesn't care if you have dignity. By lunch on day 2, I was chanting along, fully pretending to be indoctrinated. My hat was, you know, slightly askew, dead behind the eyes, hoping for food poisoning. Yeah, nothing says teamwork like a little light pageantry and a touch of psychological warfare. I left the academy with the handbook, my Three Musketeers hat, and a haunting realization that I had just pledged my allegiance to a man on a horse wearing a cape and a Three Musketeers outfit. Woo! Yeah, I didn't keep the hat. So, what's your story? Tell me in the comments.